Let us all shed a tear for those Westerners who went overseas to fight for ISIS, only to immediately experience buyer's remorse. You see, apparently these poor chaps evidently never read one of Aesop's most famous fables, you know, that one about the grass being greener on the other side. The UK Sun newspaper recently published a fascinating and unintentionally hilarious story about wannabe jihadis who left their infidel Western nations in order to become soldiers of Allah overseas. But a funny thing happened on the way to the battlefield. So many of these martyrs quickly came to the realization that pursuing martyrdom in a shithole country ain't all that it's cracked up to be. For example, the Sun interviewed a heavily pregnant and very pissed off jihadi bride from Germany, now living in a Syrian camp. She now claims that her Serbian husband tricked her into joining ISIS. Hey gals, don't you just hate it when that happens? Anyway, this Frankfurt Fraulein has recently changed her tune now, let me tell you. For starters, she says she's done nothing wrong, and even though she joined ISIS on her own volition, she's now channeling the Joshua Boyle bunch by saying that she was, you know, kind of sort of kidnapped. Regardless, she dearly wants to go back to Germany, even if Merkel is still in power. Wow, that's harsh. And then there's Abu Wael al-Swazari, who actually defended the actions of the infamous ISIS executioner known as Jihadi John. His real name is actually Mohammed Emwazi. Now, Emwazi is a true monster. He decapitated American journalist James Foley and British aid worker David Haynes on camera. But get this, al-Swazari confessed that while he knew about these killings before he joined, he now says he's horrified by the reality of life under ISIS. In fact, al-Swazari says all he wanted to do was, quote, live under the Islamic State and learn about Sharia. But after 3 days, I wanted to leave, end quote. And then in what might qualify as the understatement of the decade, he says, quote, I understand why the European public may not want me or any ex-ISIS members back, end quote. Oh, you don't say. In fact, a common thread emerges amongst these wannabe jihadis. First, their whiz-bang Mideast rape and pillage vacations proved to be so appalling from the get-go. And secondly, the Sun notes the whining fanatics that they spoke to, most of whom are incarcerated in Syrian prisons now, say they'd rather die than spend another day in a Syrian jail, which apparently makes your proverbial hellhole look like Club Med. But in the final analysis, it also becomes apparent that all of these dimwits failed to comprehend the total degree of their own loserdom. For starters, these guys were supposed to be jihadis, right? Doesn't that mean, you know, blowing yourself up to get that promised quota of 72 voluptuous black-eyed virgins? But they couldn't even do that. They end up getting captured and now wish they were dead, yet they're now lacking the means to complete the deal with the Grim Reaper. I mean, how pathetic is that? And while they all dreamed of living under a caliphate that embraced Sharia law, it turns out that within just a few days of touching down from the UK or Germany or Switzerland, these wannabe Islamist tough guys got very, very homesick. Yeah, these badasses soon came to resemble this.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
You know, folks, I almost feel sorry for these losers. I almost wish that their respective nations would dispatch special envoys in order to repatriate these poor, tortured souls. And then when they're reunited in their non-halal hometowns, perhaps we could begin the process of reintegrating them, you know, maybe send them to poetry classes. Nah, what am I saying? Let them rot. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, the Rebel has a brand new app. Please download that app and take the Rebel with you wherever you go.